Good day, everyone. My name is Manal Zainuddin, and this time I choose to present myself as an educator and a parent. Unlike the other videos, I want this video to be non-academic because the theme of this video is very critical and very special. This month, particularly the 21st of September, celebrates International Day of Peace. This year and last year were years of everything except peace, because we have all been going through turbulent times. Considering the importance of this theme, I chose this time to present acts of kind attention in a different way. And I chose that on purpose because I just wanted it to be a talk from the heart to the heart of other parents who, just like me, might be stumbling in this world of complexity and ambiguity and volatility as we raise our children. And we all know how important raising children is if we really want to think about a sustainable and successful future. The theme peace is a very broad theme, and in the video that addresses schools and educators, I speak about United Nations initiatives, organizations initiatives, and mainly the father of peace studies, Johan Galtung. The term peace has been repeated over the past 4 decades in governmental summits and conferences, in organization meetings, even in our small community meetings. But what have we accomplished so far regarding peace? That's a very important question. So let's think about peace as parents from this perspective. First, taking responsibility of our attitudes, of our behaviors, of our own perspectives. And that's not always easy because we all know the challenges that we are facing, and it is all around us. The main one is the social media mainstream and what our children are subject to as they grow up. I know that most of us have set certain limits to protect children from the social media mainstream, but that cannot continue to happen as they grow older and older. As they start their adolescent years, they will be interested to know more about the world. And as they grow from age 14 to age 16 and then 18, then we are heading towards more vigorous challenges. So taking responsibility of every single act that we do, of every single thought that we share, of every single emotion that we show to our children is vital in their upbringing. That's why we have to be first the role models as much as we can. And I know that we all have vulnerabilities, and we do have to face and embrace our vulnerabilities. But as we sit with our children, as we discuss pivotal areas in their own lives and in our own journeys of life as families, there is a huge responsibility upon us. The second point is raising our standards, raising our understanding and awareness of the world around us, triangulating the knowledge that we receive from the outside world, and putting it all together as we go through everyday's events. And with our children right in front of us, observing us without us knowing most of the time, even imitating us in certain situations, having high standards is very critical. And that's why here in this stage, we have to educate ourselves first. It's not only the world that is changing, it's also us that we are growing. Every day we are processing our thoughts and we are processing our emotions, sometimes in the wrong way, but most of the time in the right way as we go with the flow in our daily lives. We do not plan every single event in our life. You know, and I know that every day brings us certain surprises, some unprecedented incidents. And sometimes these incidents might be pleasant, sometimes they might not. And we grow along the way while we are learning and while we are discovering more aspects about ourselves. And that's why we have to raise our standards. We have to know that we are going forward we cannot just go backwards. Because just like every other parent, we have all been going through a dark tunnel. We are blindfolded trying to find our steps through this dark tunnel, hoping to find the light at the end of the tunnel as soon as possible. But that does not really seem easy at times. And I think one of the most important aspects now that we really have to think about is peace and having peace in our lives. And in particular, and this is something I speak about and I will be speaking about more and more, is connecting to our inner peace. That's why it's important to educate ourselves first, know where we stand so that we know how to direct ourselves and our families and our children. Believing in our assets. How often do we pause and reflect upon our lives, try to find and identify those areas of strength and talents and skills, try to find those areas which we are truly grateful for? That's the key. That's the first step on the ladder towards peace. Do we truly have faith in our world? Do we believe that the world is a good place? That's not always easy, because when we watch the world around us and witness all the adversities and the conflicts, it is difficult sometimes to convince ourselves that the world is a safe place. We have to teach our children that the world is a safe place if we want it to be so. That's not always easy, because we do not live in a utopia, and at the same time, we do not live in a dystopia. We can be strong and we can be vulnerable at certain moments, but the power is in being able to stand up on our feet again, being able to conquer our difficulties, being able to go through this dark tunnel even blindfolded, not knowing when we will have the blink of this light at the end of the tunnel. This is amazing when we really believe in our ability to embrace our vulnerabilities and at the same time muster our efforts as a family to remain resilient and move forward towards a better present and future. When we have a careful oversight of incidents around the globe, we cannot but feel afraid at certain moments. And it's our right to feel afraid because we are humans. But when we think about peace and how are we going to show our children that the world is a peaceful place, it is very difficult to find the right words or to tell the good story, because so far the stories were not very good and the children have been living through this with us. That's why it is very difficult to convince them of a safe and peaceful world. And that's why we have to integrate our mind and some positive energy in motion into our daily routines and our daily attitudes and attributes. With children witnessing all those adversities with us, going through this journey with us, we are all in the same boat. We cannot hide certain facts from children. We really want to convince them of the safe and peaceful world, but sometimes we do not have the right or the ample facts to prove to them that this is a safe and peaceful world. That's why it is so important to integrate our minds and positive energy in motion in everything we do. Try to find those moments when we can have a conversation about peace and about what the world can be like. We can visualize with them, putting all those passionate thoughts and passionate ideas into a beautiful scenario. What it is like to go on this type of picnic? What if we could do this together? What if we could celebrate this day in a different way? Trying to think about those details, especially at bedtime, because at bedtime it really serves the best purpose. Because as children drift into sleep, all this excitement and all those beautiful sensory details can sink into their subconscious, and that's when they can create their better future. And in one of my podcast episodes and in one of the videos, I speak about white contracts. We all know green contracts, and these are related to the environment and to sustainability. I speak about white contracts in relation to the environment and sustainability development goals, and that was in one of the contributions which my daughter participated in one of the competitions about sustainability that was held by Finland and Expo Dubai in 2020. And white contracts as a concept means having this peaceful drive towards attaining sustainability. It is not enough to have those well-designed, perfect plans to accomplish sustainability and care about our environment. We need to have this inner drive. And this is how it is when it comes to peace. We need to have this inner drive. It has to come from the inside out, and it has to be authentic, and it has to be serious. And that's why it is important that when we speak about it, we also speak about peace with passion. So when it comes to peace, what can we do to show our advocacy of peace within our communities? Because now we are speaking about us as families. When we do those play dates, when families visit each other, how do we emphasize the harmonious way of play, the harmonious discussions? Do we do that just because we want to show that we are kind, or do we do that because we are already kind? We can make use of the incidents that happen in our daily life, and that's very easy to manage because this is experiential learning, and we practice how we negotiate and how we look at others with compassion and empathy throughout the situations themselves. That's why it's very important to practice peace, mainly in the forms of kindness, hope, compassion, empathy within the circle of our families. But now as parents, we speak at micro levels, the family level. It is just this home with the father, mother, or the caregiver and the children. So what can we do? What are our needs when it comes to peace, and what are aspirations when it comes to peace? From this springs other relations into our bigger circles of communities and our nations and regions. To foster peace in our families, as parents, we can always teach our children, or at least show them how to be kind, how to be compassionate, how to be hopeful. And I know that's not always easy, because sometimes when a child confronts you with a certain disappointing feeling, when the child says, well, I was bullied and I spoke to the teacher and the teacher did not do anything about it. I either had to hit the other child, or go to the teacher, and I chose to go to the teacher. And when the teacher does not do anything, that is a very clear demonstration of lack of human rights and child abuse. And that's not a good example of peace and harmony that we want our children to see in the world. And this is not something that can coincide with our thoughts about faith and trust. We tell our children to trust the world, but we also want a world that is trustworthy. While the world might not be as safe as we expect it to be, especially what happened during the pandemic, it is always up to us how we choose to see the world, our perspective. And I would like to sum up this video about peace by saying, be present in your community, genuine and true. Know that every generous gesture, tiny or enormous, ripples through you, your family, and those around you. Have a peaceful day.